it is interesting or funny how in my last episode of Hypnosis Q&A from around the world, episode 28th, that was made in Kabul, and I was talking about how the cactus, how amazing they are, and little did I know, less than a month, here I am in Tucson, Arizona, where really you can see the real cactus everywhere. I was in a cactus garden in Kabul, I remember, a few weeks ago, and I was amazed by the height and the size of them. And here, this whole region feels like a gigantic cactus garden with pockets of human residence. It was also on that trip to Kabul, where I had my birthday. I sent out an e-newsletter to my subscribers, and I was offering I was offering a 4-hour deep dive kind of intensive hypnotherapy sessions, and didn't know how it was going to go, but the responses were quite phenomenal. And then I went back to Vancouver. I already had about 7-8 such sessions, so it's amazing. I got a lot of questions on those sessions, and normally I would direct the questions to the web page, and for them to go through that, and also there's a form for them to fill up, because this kind of sessions are for deep dives. Not everybody is a candidate at the time, so I need to people need to apply for it, and I need to go through that to decide mutually if they are a good fit for such intensive deep dive sessions. I'm going to read the newsletter I sent out. Deep dive is something the mind is mostly afraid of, as the mind is more at ease with the breath rather than the depth of existence. The mind, its job is to be distracted, to get to gather information and knowledge. It's on the breadth of it. But deep dive is go to horizontal level, is the depth of it. Therefore, I have decided to offer some intensive hypnotherapy sessions with a focus on spirituality. Such an intensive session takes 4 hours long. We will explore your spirituality, your awakening, and your self-realization. We'll do so by not getting caught up on concepts, ideas, rituals, or formalities, but exploring within you what's there to explore, experience, and express. Through this time-space illusion we call reality. Such an intensive session may contain past life regressions, life between lives regressions, future life progressions, soul retrievals, and soul reconnections, dehypnotization from beliefs, and the development of certain abilities to assist you on your journey. There is no structure to such an intensive session. I will tap into my intuition and our connection, my soul to yours, to facilitate such a session. When I schedule such an appointment, I will do my best to block the rest of the day to dedicate my attention to you and you only on that day. So as I said, I did get a lot of responses, and most people, I refer them back to my webpage where people can apply for such a session. As I said earlier, I received a lot of responses from that email, and one of the response came from someone on my email newsletter subscription list, and it turns out later that he knew me from over 10 years ago. He came to one of my workshops, and he raised some questions, many questions that he sent to me, because he was interested in such a deep dive session. So he says, I would like to ask if it's possible that you could connect with the higher self, his higher self, and ask us some question to find something such as why, what is related to children. That is my passion right now. he said he did not find pleasure doing the work he does. Yes, he's skillful at that, but he does not enjoy his work anymore. So he wants to know that, something that he would actually enjoy doing, and the evolution of the soul. And so he wants to know, what are becoming an obstacle for their own evolution of the soul. How can I also connect with my guides? So I found those questions are quite generic. So generic that I initially didn't feel that he and I would be a good fit for our intensive deep dive session. However, I was still interested in getting to know him a little more. So I responded to him, and after my response, he had more questions for me. So thank you so much for your response to my email, Kemila. I forgot to ask you if. Okay, he says if he's going to have a recording in a session. And so, yes, the answer is yes. I don't voluntarily record all the sessions, but when you need it, when you ask if I record, the answer is always yes. So I do record for you on your request. Some people actually, they pull out the phone and they record on their own as well. So it can be recorded for the later use. And also he said that... Okay, there's another question. What would happen if I cannot go into trance, if my capability to be hypnotized is 0? Now, when he asked such a question, I knew at this moment we are not a very good fit for a deep dive. A deep dive is like none of these questions is an issue. It's let's just go dive deep. But if you still know if you're able to swim, of course you don't dive if you are not even sure you can swim on the surface of the water. It's kind of like this. This kind of concern itself indicates that no, we're not going to do deep dive if these are still your concerns. So I responded to him that this definitely he's not a candidate for such an intensive deep dive session with me at this time. However, we can work on the hypnotizability and to be convinced that he is able to be hypnotized. So I responded that way. When you still have concerns of being hypnotized, probably we cannot go very deep in the dive. It's called a deep dive. So it doesn't really mean this person himself cannot go deep, but the doubt itself is going to be the blockage will prevent us going deep, paradoxically. And of course, being him with so many questions, he sent me some other more questions, and he told me, this is when he told me that he had a 1-hour session with me long ago in the community center that I was teaching. That day, he says, my son and I had a regression. He still remembers what happened that day, but I never was hypnotized. I was aware of your directions, and even though I did the best I could in the class, nothing different happened to me. Does this mean that I will never be never be under hypnosis? There's nothing can be done to fix this problem. First, it's not a problem being able to be hypnotized or not. There is a huge difference between group sessions and one-on-one sessions. It's group sessions, me as a facilitator have to go general, and so it's not tailored for you. Like, you can, for example, walk into a department store or shoe store and you try on different shoes, and eventually, for whatever reason, you just cannot find a pair of shoes that fits you. But you do not need to walk out of the shoe store believing that I can never, there's never a pair of shoes that can ever fit me. It's like I can never be hypnotized. That's a too quick a conclusion based on one experience. Right now, I'm sitting in this amazing place, like going back in time. It's called the Tombstone, the city name, and funny name, in Arizona. And there are many tailor-making leather products like shoes, boots, and you walk in one of them and have the shoemaker tailor make a pair of shoes for you. Now you tell me, are the shoes going to fit you or not? So one-on-one sessions just like that. I work with you, so you don't have to fit into any script. I don't even have a script. I work for you to tune into whatever that can work for you. So therefore, there's no way you cannot be hypnotized. In a sense, believing in this idea that you won't be hypnotized, that's itself is a self-hypnosis. And so, of course, that means you can be hypnotized. Also, the questions you had about contacting your spirit guides or your life purpose, why you joined to children, and how are you going to move forward on your soul's journey, those questions, sometimes people don't even need to be officially hypnotized to have those answers coming through. Sometimes in my office, we just have a seeming ordinary conversation, and it's called a conversational hypnosis. So I can draw answers out of you with your eyes wide open. So it's the answers that are important for you, that you get from the depth of you, rather than having to focus on. You have to go through the hurdle, the barrier of being hypnotized to get the answers. There are direct ways of getting the answers. That's another way to answer your questions. So far, no, we are not good fit for a 4-hour deep dive session. So actually, I answered like this to this gentleman, and I suggested a 1-hour session. Funny enough, last Saturday he came in with a friend, so both had 1-hour sessions, and so he was sitting in his friend's session on the side, and I was working with his friend first, and I was observing him just by working with his friend, hypnotizing his friend. He went into trance already, so and he lost track of time. So that was a convincer that he was convinced he was actually hypnotizable. It's possible to hypnotize him. So maybe he will come back for a 4-hour session, and we will see. Thank you.